presentation. I think it's our 6th session today. For those of you who have stuck with us from the beginning, thank you. And I am here to, I'm also very tired today. I'm here to introduce Nigel Joseph. I've known him for a year and a half, 2 years, and he's definitely one of the most fun people of my time here at WSU. And he's here to talk about his experiences. He's definitely got some great ones, and I will let him take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Nigel Joseph, a graduate student in apparel merchandising and textile and design. And I'm here to talk to you about what I did previously before here, which was accepting your limitations and honing your greatness, a life lesson from a hurdler. So, before we begin, I'm not an expert in this field or in any field or anything like that. I'm trying to be. So just be mindful that I'm just sharing my personal stories. And this is just one aspect of things. As well as this is interactive and it's practiced by choice. So I would love for you to find your level of comfort and do that to the max. So if that means you feel like you just want to sit there, I still would love for you to be as engaged as possible. No worries, just come in. As well as like tailor anything to what your needs and your capacity is, And then the last part, because we're not live stream, don't even worry about the tweeting and all that kind of stuff. Cool, we'll just work together. So this is a brave place where vulnerability is celebrated, appreciated, and respected. So, again, I'll be talking about dreams and goals, and so that's really a vulnerable place. And so let's have some compassion with each other and create that environment so we'll be open to share these aspects of our lives. So here's the lessons in this session. We're going to talk about dreams of the outcomes, creating a smart goals to get you there, deconstructing attitudes and actions that don't help your goal, and find inspiration that embodies your greatness to accomplish your goal. So let's get to know each other. I know that Rochelle gave me a really good introduction, but just a little bit more about my history in track and field and my history about me is I'm a 3-time NCAA qualifier, 11-time all-conference selection in 3 individual events, 4 different types of relays. I'm also a 4-time senior national medalist. I competed for Canada. I was a finalist at the Cyclone Games in the 400-meter hurdles. I have a learning disability with my processor speed. So you are going to find mistakes in this. I just don't see them. How it works is my learning disability affects my verbal, my organization, my reading, and my writing. And so just be mindful of that as well. And I have an autoimmune disease that affects my muscles and my lungs. This is an inflammatory disease, and it's actually what took me away from being able to compete. Best thing is, though, I operate with determination and fortitude. Failure happens, but I don't think it is failure. I think that those are learning opportunities. So now it's your turn. In the next few minutes, get yourself into a group of 2 or 3 individuals and share the following. Where are you from? Something you've accomplished in your life, a hurdle or limitation that life has presented to you, and a few words that describes how successful you operate as a student or a professional.
No, I'm interested, but I'm also tired. I'm up until about 1:30 this morning. I'm trying to get a advertising project fleshed out. I have an advertising
So I was going from having to like learn on my own and having to fight on my own. And I feel like I should facilitate that by like having like self-help, like from my business stuff. This may really help me like my scholarship to like navigating everything because it was just such a big giver. Yeah.
Excuse me. I just like to go around to hear little things and just to see where people are. So
She was telling us about how amazing she is. All right, so something you've accomplished, now you do your hurdles and orientation. Did you, are you done? Okay, I'll sum it up. Your turn.
So I'm Brian. I work over in global services. WSU back in May. So I'm pretty proud of them. And one of my job where I'm at right now, what I do, I'm pretty proud of what I've accomplished. My background is in civil affairs, and I'm not, personality-wise, I'm not a civil affairs kind of person. So I think it's put up a lot of hurdles for me, barriers, living in the often. Typically hire super outgoing, chirpy people.
That's something that over the years
all right, here you go. So right now we're just introducing each other. Introducing each other to you. Yeah, that's what's happening. It's all good. I don't like to be a sage on the stage, so we're interactive. So if you could hop,
I was a bit late. So
oh no, it's quite fine. Leslie, do you mind incorporating? Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I had to go with good old-fashioned perseverance. I just think it's time to take it one day at a time.
All right. So how many people are complete? How many people are done? How many people need one more minute? Okay, one more minute. One more minute.
I think there were other people that needed and now I get to return and to go out with this. Find a turtle, take a ride. I'm trying to get to the cantina for a few years.
So I'm gonna hand these out. So this is for you, and this is for your group as well. That's for your group. Yes, this is for your group. It's for later. It's for our activity down the road. This is for your group as well. And this is for your group. All right, so everyone should be good to go. You guys will have more time to connect with your group. So, could I get someone to share what they think 400 meters and 400-meter hurdles have to do with life? Like how does that correlate? Could someone think about it? Yeah,
I think the challenge is trying to figure out how to get over an obstacle to get to the end.
that's a good one. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, you guys, yeah, you have to do that too. Yeah.
When you smash and fall on your face, get ready to go to the finish line.
Yep. Not just on your face, on the top of your head. Yeah, done that several times. Yeah, so all these things are really good. For me, I look at the race itself as life, right? Like as an opportunity in life. Everything that we go, we have to try to do it. We have to run the good race or do whatever. And the barriers and the hurdles that we have are actually barriers and hurdles. Some people have none at all. Some people have very little ones, and many. Some people have a lot, and it's a few. And some people just have steeplechases, right? Where they have a barrier and water and alligators coming up, right? Like. But everyone has a race that they're running, and everyone has barriers and limitations within and confines of what they actually do. So, again, we'll go into our first one, which is dream the outcome. So when I first started as a little kid, I grew up in a single parent home in a low economic status because my mom was an immigrant, came from the Caribbean. And you can't necessarily take the worth that you have from your country into your previous country. So it was just a different life for my mom, who had to start from the ground up as a teenager. With that, I was, one of the things my mom taught me was education is key. And seeing that we didn't have very much, and I saw all these athletes and I wanted to be an athlete. I was like, light bulb, I can be an athlete, get my school paid for, and go down that route and see if I can get to the Olympics or to, be the next Michael Jordan or be the next Wayne Gretzky. I'm from Canada, right? Black Wayne Gretzky, hockey, Edmonton. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, that's what my first goal was, and that was my first dream. Right, I really wanted to dream to have athletics be a big part of my life. So our first task is take a minute to think of a school or professional dream that you do have. Yeah, just take a minute, think about it. Maybe you might have something that you're working towards, or you may not have anything, but yeah. Then, if everyone has something, in the next few minutes, take time to share your dream with your group. Like 2 minutes. We're limited on time, and I have a lot to do. Okay.
I have two, one which is kind of personal and one is professional. One is I'd like to build building styles and which is like education style. That is one of my professional, and I'd like to become the assistant my dream preference would probably be something like 49ers, but Ernest Hemingway style poison. I was always more of a Keith Olbermann guy. That's just me. How do you think it might shift? Like by theoretically, you could still do journalism with the social media coming on and it does the technology out of it.
All right, you have 10 seconds to wrap up.
sure you wouldn't mind holding my card.
All right, cool. So we'll move on to our second part, which is creating a SMART goal. Who here has heard about a SMART goal before? Okay, I thought more people would. And so a SMART goal is a tool that you take your dream and you make it action oriented. And the way that you do that is SMART stands for, it's an acronym, it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And so way later on in my life, when I was at the University of Calgary, I had an opportunity to run a 400-meter hurdles. My coach just threw me in and said, go do it. So I did it, and I did not too bad. So my coach was like, hey, we're gonna train for this for the next year. And he was like, I think you can get a Div 1 scholarship. Way off in the distance, I was like, okay, cool, but how do I do it? And so I put this together. It was back in 2007, so I'm a little, it'll age me, but I looked at things, I looked at what the standards were for some schools and came up with this. In 2007, I need to run under 52.6 seconds in the 400-meter hurdles so I can gain a full scholarship to D1 institution. It's quite fast. I look at people running that time now, I'm like, wow, they're running so fast, but hindsight is a little 2020, but now, in the next, takes like 5 minutes on your own to write a SMART goal from your dream that you have shared with everyone else. And sans the tweeting, this was only just for it again to be interactive with the live stream, but this room is not being live streamed, so.
Yeah.
by a show of hands, who needs a little bit more time? Cool. All right, we'll move on. So everyone has their SMART goal. That's great. Now, we're going to deconstruct attitudes and actions that might hinder us from that. And so, whether it's time, money, attitudes, social constructs, we all have barriers. Like we talked about, they could be big, they could be small, they could be steeplechases to get over things or to accomplish a goal. For me, I needed to speak to some things that might be limiting some of my aspects. And so deconstruction, attitudes and aspects really thinks about what are the worst outcomes I possibly can do, and what are actions that allows that worst possible outcome to happen. So as a university student, I needed to transfer, and so not getting a good score or not doing my homework or attending classes will allow me to get a low GPA, so I couldn't transfer. Not working, because anytime I had to travel, we're in Canada, 400-meter hurdles only could be run 2 months of the year. So we had to travel to the States quite often for some races and for training camps and so forth. So I needed that money, seeing that I didn't come from very much. And so not practicing or practicing without full effort. So being mindful, being present, and making sure that everything I do was purposeful. And that was something that, with that goal, understanding that like, I'm all about numbers. And so understanding that like what I had to do every single day to get there. So I ran like a 53.8 that one race that I said, and I was like 52. How much seconds is that every single day do I need to get better? Like if I broke it down by 100, can I get better by 100th every single day? That's easy to do, right? Like that's only like this every single time. It's literally like this much. Can I run this much faster? And so not practicing with my full effort limited that. Not going to treatment sessions. So as an athlete, I was very privileged to have the Olympic training sessions, the Olympic Training Center right there, and the people that worked with them. Now, I wasn't a part of the training center, but they liked me enough that they treated me. So I had really great chiros, I had great physiotherapy, I had great massage therapy that I would be able to take care of my body, as well as a nutritionist, that I can make sure that I'm doing everything I possibly can do to get to my goal. Not contacting universities to update its success. Not many people at the time, recruiting to Canada wasn't something that was big on the list. They're not gonna go out to Calgary, Alberta to like recruit a 400-meter hurdler that, you can barely get results online at that time, right? And so a little story is I was getting recruited by University of Louisville. I didn't end up going there because I sent them, after talking to them and sharing that I'm from, my dad's from Africa, my mom's from the Caribbean. I sent them a video and they thought that I was a different person. Now, this different person did not look like the shade that I was. And so the comment of the video was like, "Don't let that little black boy push you around." I was like, I am that little black boy, coach. And so like I ended up realizing that this coach is probably not listening to what I'm saying. So that wasn't a school for me, just because the diaspora of Black people isn't just Black American. And so just understanding that like me not contacting them and me not communicating who I am, what my goals are, because I was coming out of left field. I was 19 years old, never ran a lick of the 400-meter hurdles, and I was asking, what does it take to get a full scholarship? I had lots of coaches laugh in my face and say that I will never make it, because usually that's, they're not going to recruit someone who's 19 that just ran once and they, have a walk on time, right? Especially from Canada. And then not getting enough sleep. Sleep is like, you make your gains in your sleep, right? Rest is the best thing for your body. From an athlete standpoint, from now in, doing my scholarship of, academic scholarship, it's the best thing. Sleep is amazing. And so not getting enough sleep, everyone has been in that room where you're like, that dude just needed an extra, or that lady just needed an extra little hour, and maybe press that button, maybe, or you might be running late because you pressed that button one too many times. But yeah, so those were all those are just a few of my things, attitudes, and actions. And so now what I would like you to do is take 5 minutes, look at your SMART goal and figure out what are the worst possible results that you can do. Like, what things that you can do to make sure you achieve the worst possible result.
So I'm gonna have to leave a little bit early, but I actually really want to talk to you. I have a few things that are bouncing around in my head. I wonder if you have a card or contact information or something that I can get in touch with you. I'm gonna have to leave about 10 minutes early, so. Fantastic. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Yeah, and just send me an email. Brandon, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And by the way, I cough. It's not because I'm sick or anything like that. So don't worry. I'll probably get more sick from you than you from me. You guys are all done.
We didn't write anything down, we just talked.
Oh, that's fine. That works. Do you?
I'm trying to pursue her goal. She must have cheated. Darn it. Tell me we're trying to find out 24 hours.
How many people need an extra minute? Put up your hands. Okay. Take 1 more minute.
Sorry. Stop.
All right. So let's go down this list and ask yourself, is there anything that you currently do that is acting as a hurdle or a barrier to get for you to, to hinder you from being great, to getting that accomplishment, to be successful? Is there anything on your list that is a real limitation that you can't actually get over, or you need help to get over? In your groups, afterwards, after you think about this, share one thing on your list if you're comfortable in sharing these things. It might be vulnerable, so.
so now I got there's like kind of stuff that like not that I can't get over, just that I think the worst thing that we could probably do is be tough. But probably for me, just like my biggest thing, not that I can't get over it, but just is like not following up on opportunities or you know, I mean, if you have an opportunity to try and do something and you don't follow up on it, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I suppose the other one would be like failing classes. Like if you just flat don't care and you're just like, eh, and you decide to elevate and you just fail.
That's really great work in my head. I just put my hand over here and jam it into 24 hours. Never mind. Anyways, I think one of my things is having like, I just want to get it done. Like not putting my things I do.
And we all have that.
Yeah.
And it happens more with like the week.
Not in the
before you know it,
same-
the weekends every year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because I can't do the first 4 hours of the work day. So it's been a challenge.
Same thing with the dance. You're just like, man, this day's been you do it a lot. Periodically, we all, every one of us has had a day that is like this. Oh, especially when if you're working in a job you hate. Like, that's a guarantee. And every job has its hurdles, but if you're working in a particularly demanding job and you're sitting there every day on the stage, I guess the other one is like isolation too. If you don't tend to meet people or make those connections without introduction too.
What's up, sir?
No, I'm just coming in checking, right? Seeing if where you guys are. You guys are my like center to figure out how people are doing, right? Yeah, no. If you're able to get through and like have your great conversation, that means like everyone else is good.
Yeah, because I never set up.
Yeah. All right. You still need to go?
We're okay.
Okay. Who needs one more minute-ish? Everyone's good to go? All right. So our next one is finding inspiration that embodies your greatness to accomplish your goal. Throughout my journey, I use symbols that allow me to hone my greatness. One example is using positive characters from things, people, places that reminds me how to operate in success. That really take in my good qualities and not so much focus on the bad things that I do. This helps me mitigate some of those aspects. For example, I like to use animals sometimes. And so if I'm using animals, my day at the track, so let me move a little bit backwards. So in my story, we're at that point where I have written down my goal, right? I got to run 52.6, right? We're 3 months down the road at our training camp in April, actually it's coming up to the anniversary, right around this time. April, there's a big meet in California called Mount Sacramento. Anyone know where Walnut or Palm, anyone know that area? Yeah, so it's in, Southern California. It's nice and warm, getting away from the cold tundra of Calgary. And this meet is my first real race after training for it and doing everything. And so these were the things I thought of. Right? For me, I am a interacting person. So when I feel anxiety, I either retreat or like I push in. And so me to feel comfortable, I like to be a butterfly first, go say hi to this person, go say hi to that person, get myself acclimated, move around to feel comfortable in that space. And then I usually like hunker down and really focus and get like that eye. And when I'm warming up, I really tend to like, look like I'm pursuing those hurdles, become like my little antelope, and I'm like, I'm going to get you, right? Like, and then afterwards, I become the opposite. I become the gazelle, right? Like I've been known to have a really graceful running form, and so everyone once I got over when I run, it's just effortless, and I really try to minimize some of the effort I put into, because it's a hard race. The more effort you put in, the more hurt you have. So like if I can run it as clean and as efficient as possible, that was best for me. And then the last one was a peacock, because like once you cross the finish line, your chest comes out a little bit, like you walk, you're like, and then you're like, oh dang, like you don't know to stand up, to lie down. You don't know. It's not a nice race. My coach always says the 400-meter hurdles is not an event that you pick to run. The event picks you. And so like, yeah, no one's like, when I grow up, I want to be the best 400-meter hurdler. No, not at all. Everyone thinks about like maybe the 1500, the mile, like, the 100 meters, like sprint hurdles, the glam events, but not 400-meter hurdles. But yeah, so those are the aspects. Now, I gave you a QR code, and I would like you to go take a quick test. It's about 10 questions that will spit out a symbolic animal of your choice. Now, just a key note that like I understand, I'm not trying to appropriate spirit animals or anything like that, because I understand the ramifications from multiple cultures, from African culture to North American, Native American, and First Nations, and how they use guide animals in their practice. I'm not talking about that, and I don't want to undermine that practice. I'm just using it as a symbol to and those characteristics to embody who I am as a person. So remember, the best way to get at something out is to frame yourself into that professional role. So what you do as a professional. So answer that question in a work or a school environment. So yeah, so you know how QR codes work? There's also a little short code. So you can type in the short code if you don't know how QR codes work. Yeah, no, it's like, no, you just type it in. It's just a URL. I just made a short URL for you. Yeah. You're very welcome. All right, so who needs a little bit more time? Put up your hands. All right, cool. So let's go. Let's all. This time we're all going to share with each other, and so let's go around the room and say, what is your animal? What does your animal represent? Who do you feel your animal represents you? Yes or no? And if not, what animal would you adopt rather? Like what animal you feel that you're akin to? Who would like to start? Maybe in the back? Yeah, that's perfect.
I were to say, and I got butterfly.
All right, so you got a butterfly. That's cool.
And I think what it represents is like growth and cycles in your life. And I think that does represent who I am because I usually try to like experience new things or create new things that kind of help me grow as a person.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm Dahlia. I literally got the same thing. And just going off of what Lisa said, yeah, I tend to be really impulsive and I like to travel. So I feel like that in that sense, like I was just like trying to like get out there more. Yeah.
Cool. And let's go over to this side. Yeah.
I met the snake, and it says when the snake spirit animal appears in your life, it likely means that healing opportunities, change, important transitions, and increased energy are manifesting. And so I feel like that's a pretty accurate description of who I am. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm a wolf. The power of the wolf brings forth instinct, intelligence, and appetite for freedom. Also, awareness, the importance of social connections.
Yes.
I tend to be a bit chatty, and I can be very impulsive, but I really dedicate to things when I decide to chase them. But if they become irrelevant, I have no trouble dropping them either. So.
Okay. And I can't see your name tag. Same group.
I couldn't get it to load up on my phone.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Gabe?
A deer. When you have a deer as a spirit animal, you are highly sensitive, have a strong intuition. By affinity with this animal, you have the powers to deal with challenges with grace.
All right. Deer sounds good. And next.
I have the same thing as a wolf. I can say like I find myself as super. It's like I'm constantly trying to like fit in like social groups and like trying to not really like just like make myself different, but just more like just be present in the group.
All right.
And I guess I'm there.
I took it out. I don't know what it said. Do you remember?
A grounding force.
All right. Do you feel that's you?
It's who I would like to be. I think that might be for somebody else to assess.
Okay.
Oh, we just didn't hear it.
Oh, okay.
I got the snake as well, which I guess I was a little bit off by, but the description being transformative, I feel like that's a lot of what I do is I help people transform themselves and I'm in a position to transform myself right now. So.
Okay. And in the front?
I got an owl, and an owl has deep connection with wisdom and intuitive knowledge. I guess that's me. I don't know, I'm not sure, but yeah.
That's cool. So, since everyone has their animal or somewhat so, how do you or how would you incorporate the essence and embody these things to either overcome some limitations to help you or to like hone your greatness? Yeah, anyone have thoughts of how they can use what they found today?
I think it's always important in my case not to get distracted by other things and to continue fiercely pursuing a goal.
not to get discouraged by the various hurdles, as you would put it.
Perfect.
You're a dear. Well, I think what's sort of odd is that, is I have the impression that one of the strengths of the bear is that which I thought I was trying to overcome. So I'm trying to learn to plan less and take each day or take life as it comes, but I have the impression that that is a strength of the bear. So what I thought I was trying to overcome, I'm now kind of being, there's this image
Yeah.
that I should be trying to overcome.
Yeah, sometimes when we look at it from our own lens, we can't see what we're doing. Just like in hurdles, I can't see how fast I'm running, but I could be running really fast. It doesn't feel fast to me, or I don't feel like I'm actually doing something. There's many races where I run, I'm like, oh, that's slow. And I look at the clock and it was really fast, right? And I think that's where you are right now. You've been working on something so much so that you haven't been able to take yourself and look at all the accomplishments that you have done. So, yeah.
I think there's a good chance of that.
Anyone else would like to share? Well, thank you so much. To end, I would like to tell you the end result of my story. So, got down to California, first race, real nervous, first time ever really like practicing and running, and got in the blocks, went nice and easy, went around, and I won my race, right? Crossed the finish line. I was like, yeah, that was good. My friend comes down. My friends come down, screaming down. You ran 52:65. And I was like, what? That was my end goal. Like that was the end year goal. So I put everything into my first race. And by the end of the season, I ran 51.9. Got 5 scholarship offers to full scholarship offers and 10 other partial scholarship offers to all different Div 1 schools across the nation. I ended up at Colorado State University, where I accomplished all those things. So really doing these things for me was monumental in getting and achieving. And I've taken that and honed it into my academic scholarship. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of this and going on this journey. I hope you've got something out of it.